Sit right down and I'll show you where my dreams began.
I'm Michael Dugan, your culinary host, guiding you through the chef's journey. Join me at the chef's table, where you'll experience stories, secret sauces, signature dishes, and kitchen disasters. In part one, we'll connect to Erica La Madrid, the owner from Delectable Peru Food and Travel. And she's a local, a travel guide, a food connector, and one of the first people to pioneer food and travel in Peru. Erica, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for your invite. It's my pleasure to be here talking to you. Like I mentioned before, this is new for me. Besides, Clubhouse, if we talk about it at some point.
Yeah, in Clubhouse, right?
Yeah, that we met there. And it's amazing that we are able to communicate, even being anywhere in the world and doing these kind of interactions. So thank you so much for the invite.
It's wonderful to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company?
Happy to do that. So my name is Erica La Madrid. I'm Peruvian, so 100% chili ají, we call it. Jelly goes through my veins, I will say that. So I'm passionate about sharing my culture, sharing my history, food, and for every people that travel to Peru, I'm always excited. For me, it's like myself traveling with them every time, like as people that travel to Peru for the first time. So I'm excited to put together like programs and fabulous food and travel adventures, for example. So that's what I dedicate my passion and my work for the last 10 years. So my company name is Delectable Peru. That means culinary or food tours and travel, but also means delicious Peru. So I want to give them the best experience on the food side and the travel side too.
Oh, that is so wonderful. I love the idea of what you're doing. And there's a reason, because my wife and I traveled to Peru. We went to the Amazon, and one day she came home from work and she said, I'm afraid of snakes, I'm afraid of spiders, and I'm afraid of scorpions. And I want to conquer my fear, and I want to go deep into the Amazon and do it. And I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. You really want to do this? And she's like, I want to do this. So we had an amazing journey to Peru. And the really special part of it was that we had a friend, and her brother was a school administrator in Peru. When we told her that we were going to Peru, this was Laura. When we told Laura, she said, oh, wait a minute. And so she got in touch with her brother, and he met us, and he gave us a tour all over Lima. We went to some ruins. We went to the ocean. We went to some really special places that we would never have experienced. So I just want to give a shout out to Laura and say thank you for connecting us with your brother, and thank you to your brother for the amazing tour. And then we went to Iquitos, and we launched and went up a tributary of the Amazon to a jungle lodge and stayed. But the whole experience in the city of Lima was absolutely incredible. And I understand that you do food and travel tours in Lima.
Exactly, Michael. And you just mentioned something that come very close to me, because visiting a country or visiting a place that you've never been, and just that you mentioned like somebody new, a local. So what a great way to know a place than with the local, close
Right.
by. So
Connecting to you.
exactly. So that's totally what I do, because I want to give you that side of the story. Because of course, many people have already planned everything, but they didn't have the chance to meet with somebody, with a Peruvian or somebody local that knows the
Yeah.
area. So I think that's kind of the key, not just in Peru, but everywhere you go. Nothing will compare to sit down in a table, share, a dish in a local restaurant, maybe a hole in the wall type of place, and sit down in front of the people that is from that area. And sometimes it's hard for tourism or people that get into a place and kind of meet somebody just there. So that's kind of like the connection we do.
Yeah. So what I'm curious about, and I think our audience would be curious about, is where did all this start? Did this start, like, what was it like when you were growing up as a child? Were you in Peru when you were growing up?
Yes, actually, I born in Lima, in the capital, so very
Oh
close
my
to the
gosh.
Pacific Ocean. I have a mix because my grandparents on my mom's side are from from Cusco, from the Inca, part of the, so they are
Okay.
from there. And my other side and my dad's side are from Arequipa, another place that has a whole culinary, history and variety of
Oh my
food.
gosh. I want to go there now.
Yes, so I'm like a fusion of both of those areas, I will say that way.
Wow.
And so I share so much from them. And the point is, I grew up in Lima with my grandparents. My grandma, it was a big influence for me. She was from Cusco, the area
Okay.
of like the soups, the quinoa, tasty, like pachamanca, that is like a very traditional dish from the Andes. It's like a pachamanca means in Quechua is like honor to the earth. Pacha
Oh my
is like
gosh.
the earth. Mama is mom, so it's Mother Earth. Food, and you do it basically under rocks, and then you put it in. You need to make a hole, on the land and put the meats over there. So I grew up with that, with seeing my grandma waking up in the morning and just in her head, what am I going to cook today? Or just thinking about the lunch that is happening for the family for, lunch, dinner. And like that was in her mind, getting up early, going to the markets, doing all of that. Just the purpose to make the whole family happy. And in the same with the family members came and visited us from everywhere. It was like a whole festive, it was like a party and food, and the table was full of different kind of meals. So I think I have that, and that kind of always, it's in my heart, these childhood memories with festivities around the table. So I think that's why, it's important for me. Food is part of my memories and part of also, my happy life with my grandma. So I guess that comes, for me. And my grandma always, Sundays, okay, you pick a dish, one of your favorites. For me,
Okay.
I say it's ceviche, but also it's another one that is called ají de gallina, made with chicken and chili and cheese, which I need to send you the recipe. But
Yeah, definitely.
Delicious. It's delicious.
Wow.
Around 1920, I was just done with high school, starting working in a bank, and then doing like my kind of college for business administration, and doing a little bit of everything like any teenager. Then I have the opportunity to travel to the US. And that's where my travel, 10 years of living become like a part of my life, like, living abroad, living away. So, and then, after 12 years being away of my country, and that's with the whole, like, I got married, of course, and I have work here and then have my kids. So I have the opportunity to go back to Peru and then bring my kids with me so they can see I call my roots. That's because, visiting a country is different than just spend time there they have the great grandparents, the grandparents, and they were not able to really spend much time with them. So I say, this is a great opportunity.
Oh, wow.
So about 2010. So it's like, okay, let's do it. So we kind of went back, in a time where everything was like a whole revolution of Peruvian food. And the economy in Peru was very, very good. Like all the business were like running. You cannot believe like the whole revolution in general. For me, going back was kind of like, wow, this is another Peru that I never saw before, like high-end restaurants and fine dining. And of course, Peru being recognized as like in the top destination to visit. So I was like so proud, always proud of where I come from, but more than ever, because, looking at everyone, with my eyes open, like wide, because, oh, you're from Peru, from Machu Picchu, from the country with 3,000 types of potato. And it's just kind of make you, put your heart right there up in the top, because just listening to so many. But like I say, we grow up with grandparents who make us proud of where we come from. That is a country with so many possibilities and so many hardworking people. So my grandfather was in the military, of course, and that kind of like add how proud we are of like a country, where we come from.
Sure.
So anyway, that kind of, give me an opportunity to be a tourist in my own country. So every time I was discovering a place to go to visit, a restaurant, I was always carrying my note.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You don't know what to make for dinner again? You want to explore new cuisines, but you don't have time? What if you have new inspirations and we provide you with the ingredients and recipes? We know you want to travel, learn new foods, explore the world, but life's responsibilities keep getting in your way. What if you can bring those experiences to your home neatly packed into a box? Ladybug Collective is a subscription service that finds real people from around the world to create beautifully curated assortments of recipes, ingredients, and cultural content. Not only do we include cultural ingredients, but also a set of detailed recipe cards with instructions on how to use them. Each box also has a QR code that when scanned takes you to tons more global exploration to immerse yourself in. Everything from film to lifestyle, art to history, it all can be found here. Live your life to the fullest. Subscribe now and don't miss out on the next cultural adventure. Ladybug Collective. Always exploring.
Oh, really? Okay, so you're taking notes along the way.
Exactly. So I think it's funny, but I still have my notebook where I put every restaurant, every dish, specialty, and the name of the chef, all those details that for me was just for me, just for general information, but it end up referrals like friends from the US that come and visit me. Oh, can you recommend like where I can go and eat this dish or that dish? Oh yeah, I just went last week too. So I think that become, the whole, and then they saw me kind of putting together these events, and little by little I get to meet these wonderful chefs. I was very lucky. I feel like,
oh my gosh, that's wonderful. That is really awesome.
Yes. So I was like, oh wow. And many people before the tourism and the whole travel industry moving around, many were not really clear why I need to take people to restaurants. So they were kind of confused, like why you need to take people to a restaurant. They can go by themselves.
Right,
So
right.
Like, it's not really
you have to explain everything.
I need to explain people in Peru and people that probably never hear about food tours. Now I think it's more popular. But before, people were strange, like look at me like why you need to take them. They can go by themselves, and I cannot explain. If you go to the museum, you need someone else to explain to you what are you going to do in the museum or to visit. So you explain your culture, you explain what you eat. Even when they see a fruit, and many people, it's like, if you don't tell me how I eat this fruit, I will never guess, that this will be the way to eat it with spoon, or probably as a local, you don't think it's important, but it is when you want to do something special. So I'm very proud to say I'm kind of one of the pioneers. I don't want to say I'm the first one, but probably in the first 5 or so. Let's put it that way. So I'm very humble. I
Wow.
will say that start this kind of experience on the food side. So I was like, I see people can go to the markets or can eat ceviche, but what about a Japanese Peruvian fusion experience? Or what about the Amazonian Peruvian experience? Or what about like the chocolate workshop experience with, something that make people want to do in their coffee? Okay, let's go and do a coffee tasting. Like I say, probably it was an experience that you would never imagine to do it in Peru. But it's like, okay, let's put it together and work with the chefs. So I was like knocking in the doors, of the restaurant and say, oh, probably you don't know me, but I'm going to bring people to you and I want to make a special, experience for them when they visit. So they were like, they look at me first, like, who is this girl? Who is this? But
Okay.
then little by little, they saw me, constantly doing this and bringing people. So I guess that become with like more than 10 years on the experience doing
Wow.
this.
Well, you're building that relationship with them, and I think it honors them when you're bringing people to see them over a few years, I would imagine.
I think so. I think they do. They see how much I really love, our country because it's like we share with chefs
Right.
and with people around Peru. That we are proud to go to tell them like, oh, that's what we have. We have, like I say, I don't know if I mentioned, but 3,000 types of potato. Where you can say
Oh
that.
my gosh. No. Wow. 3,000?
Yes.
And you eat how many different kinds of potatoes?
I would say, it's many populars, like the
Uh-huh.
ones we use every day, like papa amarilla, that is kind of like translating yellow potato, right? That is
Okay.
specific for like these fried potatoes that we eat like with sandwich around instead of like any.
Oh.
You will say papa guairo. It's so many that used by different dishes. So we
Uh-huh.
have another dish that is called causa. That is the mashed potato. That is yellow potato, and it's in a layer. Then you put a kind of tuna in a can. You put it in there in the other layer, and then you cover with another mashed potato layer, and then you put
Oh,
like avocado in the top and boiled egg. So it's a very delicious dish.
that does sound good. I've also heard that Peru is kind of a culinary melting pot, and there are different cuisines from around the world, which really fascinated me. And I think I saw that on your site, because it has European influence, African influence, Chinese, Japanese influence.
Yeah, and you know why the success, like you mentioned, of the Peruvian and like the whole, I would call it revolution because it was like that. It was like
Mm-hmm.
many people when you think about like family that used to go out to eat. I'm probably 30 years ago, probably not good with like times, but when you decide to go eat outside, it's going to be for Italian, restaurants or something like it's different because Peruvian, you have it at your house. Why are you going to go out and eat Peruvian if you're going to make it at home? And
Yeah.
so this changed because for the importance on the, like, the international chefs, so many people like Gaston Acurio, like Virgilio Martinez, Micha, so many that
Uh-huh.
chef there, if you see the list of these incredible people, been abroad, study and doing like a lot of work, making Peru like what it is now important
Mm-hmm.
for culinary work. I feel like they really see like the value in our cuisine, in our food. So the thing is like they come back and say, this we have like this is a treasure. Like we need to put it in the restaurants and put like in the way people will really, go and eat it, our dishes in a way, probably
Yeah.
some in a fancy way, but the other ones like, everybody have their own flavors. We're very traditional with the recipes, but I want to say the flavors that make the whole dish, like make you think, oh, wow, this is amazing. This is
Right.
not
Right.
gonna find somewhere else. So, and that's how, you can find many dishes like all over probably the world, but in Peru you had that flavor, that result of the fusion of cultures, the history, the whole pre-Inca or Inca in a whole, it's like every dish tell you story. That's what I said. Probably it's repetitive, but that's how it is.
Oh,
Like
I
every
like
dish
that.
will
Every
say
dish tells a story.
exactly,
That's really great.
because this dish will say, okay, this is made with this potato, with this kind of potato, and then come the work of the farmers, because another thing when I probably we're going all over but I have the experience to go to places like Ayacucho, that is kind of like south of Lima, in the center of Peru. And I kind of have this experience that kind of talk with the people that do the hard work of picking up like the potatoes, and it's like the whole farmers that kind of trying to explain to you, this is not an easy work. This is like, we are proud of,
Right.
we have 3,000, but also see that probably you go to the market and you pay, I would say, not enough for all the work they do. And it was amazing to kind of share that experience. I went a couple of times there where they were carrying these big bags, of potatoes, and put it in the bag and bring it all the way down to the mountain and put it in the car. And let me tell you, it's a hard work that you're like, when you eat and just think about it, make you feel more than proud that it's delicious. It's like, this is not easy, this is not easy
Yeah.
to get. And you should be very proud, not just for the food, but for the people that work for this food. I'm very lucky that I have the opportunity to meet these farmers, and people that is related, because I will say, I'm very happy that I met the chefs, I met and see the work they do with the farmers, with the agriculture people, the people that work.
They connect,
So
yeah.
they connect directly. It's not like a third party. They go and sell it directly to them. So that made me happy to say, that they're doing a fabulous job. And if you go, for example, to Gaston Acurio, that is, like I say, a very famous chef there, but it's not just a famous chef, because you can tell, like, okay, Jose Andres is a famous chef. I don't have a close relationship with him. I know he's doing a hard work and everything, but you see their work, like Gaston, if you go to the social media, the first thing he's going to put is somebody else's work. Like, okay, this
Right.
woman in the market is offering their fruits. It's a chirimoya, or like potatoes, or they put it out there, not their own promotion, but the promotion of their markets, or the woman that is offering their product, and make me feel like, they are not thinking about themselves. They're thinking of helping others.
Right. And it's interesting. Most of the chefs that come on the show, they're all about helping others. I don't know how I get so lucky to meet people that really help others. Just about every one of them, there's something about that giving back, and you have that too, I just think that it's so important, especially right now with the pandemic and with these really tough times for everybody. We pull together, and that seems to be a common thing I've seen in the industry, which to me is really amazing. So before we move on, tell me a couple of your favorite chefs, and go slow, because some people that are listening, they might try to Google their names and research them. And
Exactly. Thank you for that question. Like I said, I'm very lucky, and I feel blessed too that I have the opportunity to meet them probably before they even were very famous. They were, but not that famous. So I can just pick up the phone and say, "Oh, I have these travelers. I have this group. Can you please just accommodate," or something like that? So I feel very lucky.
Sure.
I can do that. I know they're unreachable right now, probably. So I will say, let's start with the females, because I mentioned many of the famous ones that probably they don't care if I mention them or no, because they're already there in the top of the list.
Oh, but mention people that aren't famous. Like
exactly.
Who are your favorites?
And the ones that are not famous, and they probably, are very humble, and they don't even mention their names, or probably they don't have the opportunity to be, in the spotlight, are sometimes the female, because like many famous chefs now are more males. because it's like the popularity of them and the.
I don't know. I think that there's a lot of female
Mhm.
chefs that are out there. I've actually interviewed several. Sabrina Tinsley is an executive chef in Seattle, and she competed in Iron Chef
Oh, that's
on the
awesome.
Food Channel with Bobby Flay, and she's an amazing woman. Oh my gosh, she's really incredible. So she's one of my heroes.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome. I'm glad to see
Yeah.
that. But in the female side, for example, I don't know, probably it's just in South America, and I don't want to generalize. It's just probably my personal opinion. I want to see more.
Oh,
And
definitely.
I love the male chef. Like I love them, and I know they're doing a hard job, and probably
Mhm.
they live in the restaurant. I know it's a very, very hard work because it's 24/7, and probably, you know, in for my side, like I don't know if with the kids and doing like an extra, I can do that. Like it's a very hard job. So let's mention let's mention one of the most for me, like, is Maria Zúñiga, for example. Maria Zúñiga is a woman that not just cook with her heart, but also kind of transfer the whole knowledge of what is Peruvian cuisine, the traditional one, you know, like the tamales, like the ají, like the most traditional dishes. She
Mhm.
shared her knowledge with the students in like a center
that's
with
awesome.
low resources, like with the people that want to go to school, for example, but they don't have like the way to do it. So I know a group of chefs that, or one in particular that is Gaston, that probably, like I say, he probably is very humble, that he don't like to be mentioned sometimes. So I don't know if you're gonna hear that, but I know
Sure,
they have
sure.
a place called Pachacute. That is a center where they have like students that, like I mentioned before, they don't pay like, you know, a cordon bleu, like whatever is the name of the fancy school, that
Uh-huh.
they can study culinary arts or something like that. But they have the opportunity to go to this place and study to be a chef or to be a part of the restaurant. So for that, I feel like, wow, I admire that. Just for that, and for many things, I admire their work. But then you see all these elements, like the woman that do that is part of this kind of a center of knowledge about culinary and traditional food. Then the other one that I consider a very close friend is her name is Marta Palacios, for example, another female chef that is
Okay.
very famous. Not just because on the side of the spotlights, like I say, but yes, all the food that is cooked in the restaurant. Oh my God, it's like just hands down for her cooking. Every time that I'm close to her, it's like I don't even know where to start to, you know, it's like so many dishes that come into my mind. Then well, let's go
Wow.
with it. With other, like I say, probably I don't have like enough time to mention all. I know they have, yes, I know it's like many Michelin star, and then we have
Uh-huh.
the 50 best restaurants, and I feel like that's important for like make people know that it's restaurants working hard. And sometimes I will agree that it's important to have a list. Sometimes it's like probably these people that don't have the opportunity to be in the list.
In part 2, Erica takes us deeper into the culture, cuisine, and chefs of Peru. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us today. Follow us on Facebook. Find our website in the show notes. Subscribe on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen. Leave a comment with 5 stars, and stay tuned for the next episode of Voice for Chefs.